Welcome to Asian ID. Within minutes the entire discussion section was burning with the same restless desire, because one sentence alone had exposed the secret hidden behind the explosive success of short dramas today, hadn't it? Please, we really want to see another story with the two of you, the fan wrote with trembling excitement. Yet wasn't that simple confession also proof that some screen pairings no longer belong merely to fiction, but begin to live inside the emotional habits of an audience searching for comfort in a chaotic world, in an industry where actors are replaced faster than seasons changing across Hongdae's crowded filming streets? How could Shen Haonan's Hae-in survive 5 collaborations without exhausting the audience's patience or dulling the thrill that once made viewers obsessed with them? Why did every new teaser starring them spread across social media like wildfire climbing a mountain during a summer storm? While countless other temporary pairings disappeared before audiences could even remember their names, perhaps the answer began long ago, when their first collaboration arrived carrying the warmth of sunlight breaking through frozen snowfields. Because in Yiying and Zhai, the cheerful girl and the emotionally distant man were not simply characters, but reflections of every lonely person secretly waiting for someone capable of melting the ice around their guarded hearts, weren't they? Then came Starry Wishes, where the sweetness of youth transformed into painful longing beneath classroom lights and rainy school corridors. And didn't viewers suddenly realize that these two actors possessed the dangerous ability to make heartbreak feel strangely beautiful? By the time the back of the sun arrived with revenge, betrayal, and suffocating emotional tension, audiences were no longer merely watching stories unfold on screen. Because they had already become prisoners trapped willingly inside the chemistry between two people who understood silence as deeply as dialogue, hadn't they? And when Secret Love Turns into Marriage exploded across streaming platforms with its tale of 11 years of hidden affection and reluctant marriage, wasn't the real reason behind its success the fact that viewers no longer cared only about the plot, but cared desperately about how these two souls would look at each other inside every new universe they entered together? Now, with their 5th collaboration Zhai, everything has shifted once more into dangerous territory filled with temptation, mystery, and fantasy. Because who could resist the chaotic allure of a wealthy widow colliding with a seductive snake demon whose smile feels sweeter than poison itself? Isn't it fascinating that instead of protecting their audience with familiarity, they continuously destroy expectations before rebuilding them into something even more addictive? Many screen couples survive by repeating formulas until audiences consume their stories like fast food, forgotten moments later. Yet Shen Haonan's Hae-in determined to reinvent not only their characters, but the emotional atmosphere surrounding every interaction they create together, don't they? When Hae-in transforms from an innocent sunshine-like girl into a sharp-tongued widow who hides vulnerability behind greed and arrogance, isn't she proving that true charm comes not from beauty alone, but from predictability? And when Shen Haonan abandons the familiar cold CEO archetype to embody a mysterious male demon whose tenderness feels almost frightening, doesn't his performance reveal how desire and danger often wear the same face? Yet perhaps the real magic exists not within scripts, costumes, or dramatic lighting, but within the smallest unscripted details that audiences notice instinctively before logic can interfere. Because isn't authenticity always impossible to fake? A simple behind-the-scenes clip of Shen Haonan casually opening a water bottle for Hae-in spread across fan communities with astonishing speed. But why did such an ordinary action affect viewers more deeply than expensive romantic scenes carefully designed by entire production teams? Was it because audiences today are starving for gestures that feel natural rather than manufactured, sincere rather than calculated, human rather than perfect? Even during live broadcasts, when Hae-in struggled to imitate dialect phrases while laughing uncontrollably beside Shen Haonan's comeuppance, didn't their chemistry resemble two people forgetting briefly that millions of strangers were watching them at award ceremonies, when he quietly shielded her from strong wind without crossing boundaries or inviting unnecessary attention? Wasn't the fleeting moment more emotionally powerful than countless dramatic confessions written into fictional scripts? Perhaps audiences are not truly obsessed with romance itself, but obsessed with witnessing care expressed raw instinctive actions too subtle to be rehearsed, because deep inside every exhausted modern heart exists the same impossible question, doesn't there? What would it feel like to meet someone who notices your discomfort before you even speak? This is precisely where Shen Haonan's Hae-in understand the psychology of short drama audiences better than most creators working in the industry today, because while viewers crave familiarity that feels emotionally safe, they also hunger endlessly for freshness capable of reigniting excitement before boredom appears, don't they? Their partnership functions like a carefully balanced illusion standing between comfort and unpredictability. Because audiences recognize the emotional trust built between them while simultaneously wondering what new emotional battlefield they will conquer next. Isn't that true? Every collaboration becomes both a reunion and a surprise, both a continuation and a rebirth, and perhaps that rare balance explains why viewers continue returning to him with unwavering devotion despite the endless flood of new content released every single day, doesn't it? In many ways, their success also exposes a deeper truth about modern entertainment culture, because short dramas today are no longer merely stories essayed for passing time, but emotional stimulants consumed by audiences desperate for intensity within fragmented lives filled with pressure, loneliness, and emotional exhaustion. Aren't they? People no longer wait patiently for slow emotional development stretching across dozens of episodes, because they crave immediate emotional impact capable of making their hearts race within minutes. And Shen Haonan with Yiying have mastered that rhythm almost dangerously well, haven't they? Still, beneath the sweetness, excitement, and viral popularity surrounding this golden pairing, another unsettling question quietly lingers beneath the surface like a shadow moving underwater, doesn't it? How long can any audience continue believing in fictional love before eventually demanding reality itself to imitate the fantasy they have grown addicted to? And if viewers someday stop separating characters from actors, stories from truth, performance from genuine emotion, then who will suffer first beneath the unbearable weight of those expectations? Maybe that is why their story fascinates people so deeply, because beyond the glamorous edits, reaming fans, and rising view counts lies something painfully familiar to all of us, doesn't it? A longing not merely for romance, but for connection strong enough to survive repetition without losing its spark. A hope that even in a world obsessed with replacing everything instantly, some partnerships might still evolve instead of expire. And perhaps the most haunting question of all remains waiting silently after the screen finally goes dark, because when audiences continue searching endlessly for couples capable of making them believe in love again, are they truly chasing fictional chemistry, or are they secretly searching for the missing tenderness absent from their own lives? Thank you for watching the video. See you again.